Life doesn't come with an instruction manual.
So we made one.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Maciek.
And this is the Solutions Manual Podcast, your guide to making the most of your life, health, career, and relationships.
Subscribe, leave a comment, and share. Let's dive into our next episode. It's estimated that 1 in 6 people in the United States alone is prescribed one of those two.
That's
almost as high. 1 in 8 right now is on GLP-1s.
oh, wow.
Or because of the accumulated weight loss. Again, which all could be from the lack of restorative sleep. So the things that I wanted to talk about as a very short episode is try to explain how the human thing works, how everything is connected. Because there is this tendency, and this comes from the way the medicine is practiced, and this is how I've been trained, that everything operates in silos and buckets. This is one organ, this is another organ. So here's the thing. There are tons of people taking supplements, right? Vitamins, minerals. It's a huge, huge market. And you can test for this. You can test for deficiencies. You have these guidelines, right? The daily recommended allowance. Take this, don't take that. This is how much of certain things that you need. But this is all arbitrary because it makes a huge number of assumptions. So for example, that every person will absorb the same amount from a tablet, or that every person has the same demand, which is not true. When you are nutrient deficient in any way, it happens to people who are chronically distressed. It will happen to people who live disciplined lives, who work hard, who skip meals, they sleep like shit, they think they're on a world's best diet and take everything that is available in the market. You can still be nutrient deficient, not because you're not putting enough, but because you're burning or not absorbing stuff. And so here's how that works. For example, when you're chronically distressed, it has a metabolic impact. It has a hormonal impact on how your body functions.
Yeah.
So you'll be producing...
Not just cortisol, right?
Yeah, cortisol is one of the things. You'll be producing chemicals, but you also increase your demand for the things that you have eaten. So even if you're on a perfect diet, but you're chronically distressed, the absorption will be lower. So stuff from your diet will not get in. We'll get to that in a moment why. Whatever gets in will be burned at a faster rate. Now, when you have nutritional deficiencies, there are a lot of processes that will not work the way they should. So the antioxidation, for example, will not happen. So your overall levels of inflammation increase. That has downstream effects on pretty much everything, every organ in your body. Now, when you are higher in inflammatory responses in general, then it's kind of a back to square one. Then your nutrient absorption is going to be even lower. So if you have one element that is not functioning well in your lifestyle, let's say you're not sleeping well, this will have a knock-on effect of pretty much everything else that is happening, regardless of how perfect your other areas are. And you cannot out-supplement or out-eat your way out of this. You need to address the thing that's on the bottom of that, which, for example, would be poor sleep.
Yeah.
And there is no amount of things that you can take, eat, buy, or inject that will fix this.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
No.
But people will be optimizing or supplementing or adding rather than addressing the thing that needs to be
Interesting.
addressed.
So someone actually asked me yesterday, what can I take for my immune system? I have been sick for months and kind of has that cold, which I think people in the winter, cold
Symptoms
are more prevalent in the winter, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this has been going on for a while. And what can I take? Because I just feel my energy's low, my immune system's low. And I know we're talking about chronic distress. There's been life events for this person that has contributed to just a little bit more distress. And it said, well, if you look at the diet, look at your environment, look at your sleep, before you want to go and find a different pill or a different supplement to take, why not just look through your lifestyle, right? When's the last time you washed your sheets? How much sleep are you actually getting?
Mhm.
And what are you eating? And we know that, yes, there's the distress is going to impact your ability to absorb nutrients, but it also impacts the foods you crave, how you eat, how you decide to take care of yourself or not. But see, there's still this desire to just let me just take something instead of really look
Mhm.
at what is so simple and would probably long term have a bigger impact and would actually be sustainable. But there's the initial thing for people is to just what can I take first to is
To
it
fix
just
the
is it
symptom.
is it just simply to I want to feel better so
Yeah.
that I feel better and enough have this feeling so that now I can look at those other things because when I look at those other things I'm not going to like what I see and those changes feel so much more big or drastic or different. Is it simply that? Manage the symptom to put myself in a state of feeling a certain way? Why is that the default?
Yeah, I think we wrote about this. It's simply because it's harder. It's much easier to take a pill.
Maybe in the moment, but not really long term,
Well,
right?
it's only if you believe that the pill will actually work. But there's a huge
Mhm.
industry telling you, yeah, just take a pill
Mhm.
and it will solve your problems. It won't solve your problem. So you touched about the sleep deprivation. You're not sleeping well. It is an established fact that if you're not sleeping, your lack of sleep will wreck the sensitivity of your receptors in your body. Right. So
Mhm.
let's look at sleep restriction and insulin sensitivity,
Mm.
right? Which is this will have a knock-on effect on what
Mhm.
you eat, how your appetite is, and later down the line, obesity
Yeah.
and related conditions to it, and metabolic disease, and increased likelihood of cardiovascular complications, and increased risk, long-term risk of dementia, right? And all of these things accumulate. We talked about and we wrote about our method is based on those dominoes that you make a small change and it has a positive knock-on effect of multiple things.
Mhm.
But it also works in another way. There are things that you can do that harm you
Yeah.
exponentially over time.
Mm.
So if that receptor sensitivity is disturbed because you didn't get enough sleep at night, there is no amount of things that you can add or take that will fix for this or solve for that problem. It's not the amount of the substances or things that you're lacking, it's just body's unable to respond to it.
Yeah.
You cannot out supplement bad habits.
Yeah.
What is going to happen? So you have your disrupted glucose metabolism as a consequence of that. Short term, right? We're talking about a night or 2 nights, not 10 years of
Yeah.
sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
So this is one path. The other one, it will shift and change your stress physiology or how you respond to stressors. And we know, we just talked about this, that the more of those hormones that you have produced, again, the higher your inflammatory response. So worse appetite regulation,
Mhm.
poorer choices that you make.
Yeah.
It will have consequences how you judge yourself as well,
Of
especially if you
course.
try to eat healthy.
Yeah.
You have a change in how your metabolism handles the nutrients it receives. And then you have all the inflammatory signaling as a consequence of that. And as long as this loop continues to run, it has to be interrupted by a lifestyle intervention, not by addition of or trying to fix knock-on effects.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Mhm.
But there's this belief, everyone believes that it will, but it won't. There's so many sleep knockdown effects that the lack of sleep is linked to. The magnesium is depleted in urine faster when you didn't sleep enough. So that's an established fact, but I think the mechanism of that is unknown, right? And
Interesting.
yes, and there's a lot of it. There's a lower level of magnesium even if you over supplement because
Mhm.
magnesium is frequently over not prescribed, but people take it more than often more than they need.
Mhm.
or at least according to the guidelines. But if it's being depleted in urine, doesn't get in your cells, doesn't get in your brain, it is poorly absorbed and not really received into the cells where it needs to be because you're not sleeping well. How are you going to solve this? People think, oh, I'm not sleeping well, therefore I need to take more magnesium.
Mhm.
Like, it's just not going to work that way,
Mhm.
right? Magnesium and sleep, are they related? Yes, but not in the way that you need to fix something else first. Your brain will always choose to do what is easier in the moment over something that is harder to do in the moment.
Mhm.
And if there's a narrative that these things are equal, yeah, just take a pill. It's the same as putting a lot of effort into changing your sleeping habits.
Mhm.
You will very likely resort to the easy thing,
Mhm. Yeah.
even if it doesn't work, because you have a belief that is false. That's it. That's the topic I wanted to briefly talk about. These are the loops of behavior or of lifestyle adaptations that you need to do. You have to move more. You have to have more time without brain stimulation, that you need to sleep well, that you need to stay hydrated, that you need to have meals regularly. You need to get the basics right first before you start optimizing,
Yeah.
because 90% of your success lies in those very basic things. But
Well, and also just be clear that supplementation is not a lifestyle intervention. There's two aspects of supplementation, but supplementation is because you're not getting enough or adequate from your diet already. It's not in place of what you would be normally, what you could be getting from your natural diet, right? It's called supplement for a reason. But the other thing is, supplementation is also when you are optimizing that last little bit, right? And you said if there's chronic distress or some disruption in the basics, then piling on other things like supplements or those other, let's say, quick fixes that people think
mhm.
are quick fixes because there really is no such thing. Well, that's just that it doesn't even make sense.
Well, it's like trying to plant a seed on a concrete,
Yeah.
right? It's just the conditions. You need to create the biological conditions first for those things to work. And that's what people forget. They think it's, oh, I'm just going to take this and it's going to solve my problems. No, it won't.
Yeah.
You need to create the conditions first and then add
Yeah.
the nutrients to the soil.
Yeah.
But otherwise, it's just wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if someone is listening to this and, well, but I'm too stressed. I need something now to be able to help myself just get into a better headspace or mindset, or I need to feel better first. Is that
Yeah.
true?
No, I think it's exactly the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Well, we often see that it is the opposite. If someone is chronically distressed, they can feel probably how their gut behaves and how their appetite changes, how their sleep changes, right? So fixing the stress or addressing the stress first, you're trying to feel better, feel calmer. It'll just be a band-aid for something that isn't really
Provided it works.
if
If you're going to make it worse,
yeah.
because you can easily think that if there are stressors, which there always are in your environment, and you just want to feel better or try to make them go away or the feeling to go away,
Mm-hmm.
it will just make you feel likely even more distressed when you are unable to shake it.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about this inflammation and this stress loop,
Mm-hmm.
and we talked about inflammation and insulin sensitivity or resistance loop. So the moment that happens, and that happens after a single night that, for example, where you didn't sleep enough, there are many loops like this. So this starts make you obese over time. It's a signal to start accumulating fat, right? Because the body thinks, okay, I'm in a difficult situation right now. I need to prioritize my survival. This is how it's going to happen. And it pushes through, it produces all these markers, it puts you on this high state of alert, and it tells your body to store stuff because difficult times are likely coming, and
Yeah,
the only way to
prepare
survive is
for
prepare, store
what it
extra energy
expects.
to
Yep,
prepare.
yep.
So you become you. We call this visceral adiposity, which essentially you're getting fatter.
Right.
But today we live in a very comfortable, the most comfortable conditions ever for humans. So you're getting fatter. Well, that will further make it more difficult for you to breathe at night, disrupting your sleep, right? So
Mhm.
that continues to contribute to your problem. Now, if you sleep poorly, what's another loop? Another loop is the link between sleep and pain.
Oh, yeah.
So
Mm.
the poor sleep will increase your sensitivity to pain. That's what I struggle with personally,
Mhm.
sometimes with my shoulder. Like the less I sleep, the more pain I feel. The more pain I feel, the more difficult it is to sleep
Yeah.
because pain disrupts your sleep continuity.
Yep.
So therefore puts you in
Another cycle.
into the same cycle of disruption. So
Yeah.
now I wake up tired because I didn't sleep because of the pain. So you start the day with caffeine.
Mm.
Well, but that will further increase your sleep debt
Mhm.
because you are less likely to feel so tired because of the adenosine concentration in your brain, which caffeine will block, that you will not take a nap for an hour or two to catch up on the sleep that you have missed during
Yeah.
the day, which makes the whole cycle even worse. And then you keep adding caffeine the next day and the next day and the next day, and you feel okay because you're functioning, still able to show up for work. You don't feel tired or feel less tired during the day. But all these mechanisms below that make you inflamed, sick, fat, malnourished,
Yeah.
they continue,
Unhappy about yourself.
unhappy about yourself, and higher sensitivity to pain. And the
Yeah.
moment at night where the caffeine levels drop because you finally need to go to sleep, the sleep isn't optimal and this continues.
Yeah.
So, what will a lot of people do? Oh, I struggle with falling asleep at night. I will drink something. I have a glass or two glasses of wine because that's going to be better. It's not going to be better because the sleep after drugs, after alcohol, is not a physiological sleep.
Mhm.
So you're deepening the sleep fragmentation. You're not getting your REMs. You make everything worse, but you feel better. You feel
Momentarily. Yeah.
momentarily because you feel because your sleep latency has been reduced by
Mhm.
alcohol. So you think, oh, it's easier to sleep. But because of that and not going into the REM phases, now the next thing that goes up is your anxiety levels, right? Going up because that's related to the biology that's going to happen. So sleep latency is reduced. So you have an impression that you sleep better at night, but you don't.
Yeah.
So you sleep poorly, and that will increase your distress reactivity and response to hormones. And that in turns make you more anxious or alert, right? Because anxiety is a form of heightened alertness.
Mhm.
No wonder because you haven't slept now for a while
Yeah.
and it's disrupted. And that, again, that continues. So you're more likely to repeat that behavior again and again and again. And it's just this spiral that you're going on
Mhm.
with tons of disruptions.
Someone can easily maybe well, or if they've experienced this, I've experienced this too. When you're not getting sleep, so you add alcohol or you add melatonin or you add another yoga class or you add things, but now you need to manage the energy you're putting into there's money you're now spending on supplements or someone says try a different pillow
Mm,
or get a different mattress and then you try that and you add. I
mm,
think the irony is well I'm at the point where I have to add something just to manage the next symptom of what I'm experiencing. I'm not getting physiological sleep, so I
mm,
add coffee, but then I'm too tired. It's like there's at a certain point you're just constantly piling on another thing and you're getting further and further away from just looking at the basic level. And I think the irony is anytime that we have looked into truly lifestyle interventions for people, we might recommend a change, but it's always a reduction of some sort.
almost always.
I would say always.
Yeah.
Even if you are doing something different, a different type
Yeah.
of
It's a reduction or a
exercise,
replacement.
yeah,
Yeah.
or it's a different way of thinking about an activity around your lifestyle. It's not
Yeah.
do this, do this, do this, add this, add this. Instead of the accumulated stuff that now that you've piled on to manage symptoms, it's always a reduction of some sort.
Hmm.
And I think that this reduction or this removal, or even if it's a replacement, it feels like it's so basic, right? I think it's just that is so uncomfortable for people because they haven't done it before.
Yeah, it does, but it's still more difficult than just taking a pill.
Which is right, which is the irony, right?
Yeah,
It's like
absolutely. But
people
because
would
you've been
rather
convinced that the pill will have the same effect. It won't.
add, do this, do this, do this, than just remove all of the cut it out, cut it out. And once you get past the uncomfortable or let's say unfamiliarity of doing something like this, it becomes so much more obvious. But yeah, most people just want to break loops by adding more chains, but you really
Adding
need
more
to
things to the loop. But yeah,
just
yeah.
take the pliers and cut it at some point.
And it's difficult. You've mentioned people on supplements. We worked with people like this where take 20, 30 supplements regularly.
Yep.
And even removing 5 of them somehow shakes their feeling that they
Yeah.
feel that they're losing something.
Yeah.
And because they became at least emotionally dependent
Yeah.
on what they believe those things do for them,
Yeah.
even though most of them don't. And we're just talking about supplements right now, but there will be people. We talk about these loops, right? You sleep, you start supplementing with caffeine to go through the day, and then with alcohol to fall asleep, and that continues
Mhm.
fuels that. You add things that fuel the loop underneath it.
Yeah.
And at some point, you notice, okay, I'm far more anxious than I was before. You still haven't addressed anything. You want an additional thing, but you've already tried everything that you could have accessed yourself. So now you go to the doctor's office for your 5 or 10 minute
Mhm.
consultation with your GP
Mm.
because you have this high pressure job, because you have so many obligations that you have taken up on yourself. And you're going to lie to your doctor about how much coffee you drink and how much alcohol you drink.
Oh yeah.
And if you're lucky, you're going to get a prescription the first time. If you're not, you're going to get it the third time. You show up describing the same story. You're going to be put on Xanax, right? On benzodiazepines, or, if your mood is low, you're going to be put on SSRIs. And we talked about this recently. It's estimated that 1 in 6 people in the United States alone is prescribed one of those two.
That's
Almost as high. 1 in 8 right now is on GLP-1s.
oh